Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And there is a very simple lesson in economics that the SNP must learn. In fact, they don't have to learn by travelling too far, simply across the North Sea to Norway. Norway imposed a very large tax increase on the rich. And what happened? Well, there is a thing in economics called capital flight, and it's where the rich, when taxed too heavily, will pick up their stuff and leave. And that's what's happened. Untold billions has left Norway, and it isn't just in cash, it's capital as well. It's jobs, it's job creation, it's wealth creation. And not only does that mean that there are more people unemployed because the jobs have gone, but because these people have taken their money, the wealth base has gone. And so the people remaining are forced to pay even more tax to pay for the services, which then disencourages people to move there or to invest there. It's a vicious cycle. And having seen this happen in Norway, the SNP have decided it's a good idea to do exactly the same thing in Scotland. Their proposed increase in taxes, which doesn't affect the super rich so much as it affects the middle classes and above. So it will affect the super rich, but mainly going down into the middle classes. We'll see people take flight. Now, of course, in Scotland's case, they don't have to go too far, simply down the road till they're south of the border, down Macclesfield Way. And they'll take their wealth, they'll take their companies, they'll open up their companies and base them in England so that they're subjected to English taxes. They'll move their own address south of the border. They may continue doing the work north of the border, but what happens then is the people north of the border will pay them. That money will then come south, and there'll be no taxation north of the border for the SNP to grab hold of. This is economic illiteracy, but you don't expect anything less from the economic illiterates currently running Scotland. We'll take a look at this article to see why they have this obsession with taxing people to the point that they're going to leave the country and remove their income from the tax base. It is just sheer madness, but you don't expect anything less, really, do you? Here goes. Now, I know that most of my regular viewers are very intelligent people, and undoubtedly most of you will have heard of the Laffer Curve, but for the few of you who probably haven't, it's basically a curve in economics that says that the higher the rate of taxation, the lower the amount of tax you collect. Because once you get over a certain amount of tax, the tax rate goes above a certain amount, it becomes more attractive to either move your money into a place where you can't be touched for tax, or to take every single advantage on becoming tax efficient. And the net result is that the actual amount of tax collected by the government reduces. And in fact, low taxation, the lower the taxation, it basically means more tax is collected because people are less incentivized to be tax efficient. And so it sort of captures more at the periphery. Now, the Laffer Curve has stood the test of time. It isn't a theory, it is really quite a law of economics. But it's a law of economics that people in the SNP apparently have never understood. So anyway, we'll just go into this now. SNP dealt harsh Norway lesson as super rich ditch Nordic nations for pastures new. Individuals worth hundreds of billions have abandoned Norway following their tax hike for the rich, amid growing fears Scotland is heading down the same path at the cost of the economy. And look, there's two idiots who've been allowed to run an economy, and neither of them know what they're doing. And her on the right, Shona Robinson on the right, she's got that face of that woke face, that sort of face that the woke have, and that's an indication of sort of fat-tongued idiocy, isn't it? The fact that you don't know how to shut your mouth. She's just a moron. The pair of them are morons, and they've been given control of an economy. It's frightening how much damage they're going to do. Fresh evidence of how tax changes affect the number of higher earners in a country has come with new warnings for the SNP, who are taxing not just the super rich, but for middle earners. Norway is suffering an exodus of millionaires and billionaires due to taxes installed by the centre-left government. It's always the left, because the left don't understand how taxes work. with many moving to low-tax Switzerland as an example. It reduced the number of high earners in the country, contributing to tax revenues, and it is feared the same will happen in Scotland. First Minister Humza Yousaf has increased tax for ordinary Scots to fund welfare schemes, and his new government has faced huge criticism for being slow and dismissive on the growth, leaving critics believing it is overall a very risky approach to take. The other thing is, in a low tax economy, growth is faster because people are more inclined to invest, more inclined to put the effort in because they get more of their money back. And the increasing investment, the increase of the economy, by necessity, increases the tax take. And that's simply as a result of lower taxation. It's not hard to understand unless you're a moron. And it doesn't take a lot to work out who the moron is. The Scottish Government has long admired the Scandinavian countries' entrepreneurial initiatives to encourage business. But according to local reports, more super-rich individuals are expected to leave in the coming year because of the increase in wealth tax in November, costing the government tens of millions in lost tax receipts. More than 30 Norwegian billionaires and multimillionaires left Norway in 2022, according to research by the newspaper Dagen Nordingsliv. I can actually speak a little bit of Norwegian, funnily enough, and I can say, kan je få et stykke sjokoladeostekake, takk? Which means, can I have a piece of chocolate cheesecake, please? Don't ask me why. Anyway, getting back to it. Ole Jims Onstad, a professor emeritus at the Norwegian Business School, said he estimated that those who had left the country had a combined fortune of at least 600 billion Norwegian kroner. I don't know what that translates to. I will do that search for you now. Pound to Norwegian kroner. 13 kroner to the pound. So 1600. So 600. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 divided by 13. 46 billion pounds. Not an inconsiderable amount of money, I think. Anyway, Scottish Conservative Shadow Cabinet Secretary for Finance and Economy Liz Smith, MSP, said this shows the differences in tax rates can affect behaviour. Well, it can do. It always has done. And can even lead to a fall in government revenue. Again, the Laffer Curve. But unlike Norway, Scotland is risking those disincentives not just for the super rich, but for the middle earners. A majority of Scottish workers are paying more than they would elsewhere in the UK since the SNP government created, then widened that differential. With a declining population and sluggish growth, that is a risky approach to take. It is madness to take and will do little to encourage people to move here and help build our economy. Why move to Scotland and have less money when you can stay in England and earn more? That's as simple as that. And especially for anyone close to the border, it will drive a southern push down into England when they can. It still work, for example, in Scotland, but have their whole taxation done in England and pay less tax. It's madness that they would do this. When former Finance Secretary John Swinney announced tax hikes that hit the middle and higher class more than the rest, putting them at a massive cash disadvantage to those across the border, similar warnings were voiced from finance experts. He increased both the top and high rate of income tax by 1p, meaning the high rate is 42p and the top is 47. This means anyone earning over 43,622 will have £22 will have to pay more to the government. I'm just amazed that anyone in the government thinks that this is anything other than one of the most stupid things you could ever do. But then you just look at those two stupid faces and you understand why. Anyway, I shall round off and come up. The level of economic illiteracy shown by those two, and by the SNP in general, it beggars belief. It is almost as though they're doing it deliberately. They're deliberately destroying Scotland. They drive out the middle classes who are able to get up and leave. They move south, they take with them their wealth, they take with them their spending power. The local shops go down a little bit. Jobs go, even more people are made unemployed. There's even fewer people able to support the economy, less money spent in the economy. It's a spiral downwards, and it seems to be being done deliberately. Are these people trying to turn Scotland into some kind of economic backwater. You know, so the most Scotland's got the record. We're going to become the most desolate hellhole in the whole of Europe. Are they trying to become so poor that even if they got independence, the European Union will tell them they can't join because they haven't met the economic criteria? You just can't understand the mental processing going on with people this stupid. I honestly cannot think down to their level. Why would they deliberately destroy an economy? Other than cultural Marxism. That's it. But we all know the SNP are very, very sort of left wing. And maybe it's the thought that somewhere, someone is having a good time and they really can't abide it. Who knows? Who knows? You can't keep voting these people in or you won't have a job. It's as simple as that. Anyway, I shall finish there. Thank you very much for listening. If you like what you're seeing here on the channel, please hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment, share the video, and until next time, as ever, stay well, stay safe, do not ever vote these people in if you enjoy your job, and goodbye.